Sales tax must come to Bangalore. So much of other taxes must come to Bangalore. How many agree with that? How many disagree with that? Why? Would I participate? Forces in proportion to what it contributes are undemocratic. What about Koppal? What about Bagalkot? What about Chamrajnagar? What about Gulbarga area? They are also part of Karnataka. They may not be contributing, but does it mean that they shouldn't get the resources according to the requirements of the people? How do you meet their human development needs? So if that logic is applied, it means that the developed states in India, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Gujarat, Maharashtra, must get a far higher share compared to Bihar and Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh and so on. So again the same discourse is being played out here. Which is why, you know, in all these issues I don't have open and shut answers. And tomorrow when you sit in positions of power, which I hope you will, you cannot take decisions merely on the basis of some gut feeling. You have to apply yourselves. You have to look at the context. You have to look at the requirements of the people at large. And sometimes you have to take a decision that may be counterintuitive. And that's what I try to educate all my strident friends in BPAC, that the issue is not so open and closed as you make it out to be. And that people who are in government are not always foolish. Sometimes they also apply their minds. Sometimes. So when this has been said a lot, ಏನು ಪ್ರಯೋಜನ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಮಹಾನಗರ ಪಾಲಿಕೆ ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೂ ಏನು ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಮಹಾನಗರ ಪಾಲಿಕೆ ಕಡೆ ಮಲತಾಯಿ ಧೋರಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ನೀವು ಕೇಳಿರ್ಬೋದು. That means that the government has a step-motherly attitude towards the BMP. This is the context, that we are not getting the resources, we are not getting the funds that were required, and therefore because we don't have all that, we are not able to function. But that is directly opposite what Rajiv Chandrasekhar said. What did he say? He said corruption, wastage, profligate expenditure, and that's also a prevailing view. So in between the two, the BBMP is functioning. Okay, let's come to capacity constraints. I'll talk about capacity and resource constraints, and then we'll conclude today because it's already 1:15 and many of your vehicles may already be towed by the police, which is an example of good enforcement. Now, these capacity constraints are very important from the administrative point of view, because see, effective administration depends upon three things. This is my experience over all the years that I have managed in the public domain. One, it depends upon competence. Two, it depends upon execution ability. And three, it depends upon integrity. Now you can give and take, you can put other subjects, you can say communication is important, you can say many other things are important, and I'm not going to go into a discussion on management issues. But in the public domain, if you want capacity means getting things done. If you start a road, okay, making sure the road is completed within that particular time according to those specifications and delivered for the benefit of the public. So if you start a flyover or an underpass, making sure that it is done within that time, not leading to CNR Rao flyover underpass that has taken 5 years. Okay. So if you look at capacity issues in BBMP, the foremost question is, why are things delayed? Why are they not happening? Why are the people's requirements not being met? The kind of frustration you feel. Samuel Paul is the founder of the Public Affairs Center, PAC. I want you to read what he has written. And PAC has done pioneering work on corruption. Many years before Anna Hazare and Arvind Kejriwal and all these worthy people, Sam Paul started this huge discussion on corruption in public agencies. And I think 14 years ago or 15 years ago, he had a conference in Bangalore on corruption. And then they made a report card of public agencies. I'd request Nitin to discuss it because he's intimately aware of that. And in that report card which he did of public agencies, okay, this was I think in 2000, that report card said, if you look at satisfaction of public need, there is least satisfaction of public need by BMP. The dissatisfaction with the BMP was the highest among all civic agencies in Bangalore. And the agency that satisfied public need extraordinarily well then was the Bangalore telephones. Okay. So one of the reasons why need was not satisfied is because BMP lacked capacity. And by capacity I mean competence, execution ability and integrity. I won't speak about integrity because I have a lot to say later when we meet again. But on the issue of execution ability and competence, you will have to ask the question, compared to the mandate it has before it, compared to the kind of tasks and responsibilities, why is the BBMP not performing? A very important question, because tomorrow when you are elected, this is the question that will stare you in the face. Your public is going to ask you, our work is not being done. People have taken the money, the sanction agide, but kelsa agilla. Yake. And that has to do, among other things, because today the competence levels are limited. You have a system where, those who are put into offices of responsibility lack the wherewithal to execute their jobs. So I'll give you an example. Each ward has what is called an assistant engineer, right? Each ward has what is called an assistant engineer. When I first came to BMP, I saw that the engineer existed in the ward solely at the pleasure of the corporator. And if the corporator wanted an engineer to be changed, all he had to do was to give a chit to the commissioner and the corporator would be changed. And the engineer would be changed. So some of the engineers had spent 2 months, 3 months, and then they would be changed. What do you think of this system? Is it good or is it bad? Why did the corporators do it? Huh? Anyway, these are all issues that you can sort out over the course of the program and when you go to the field. But they are true. They are not something that will come out in academic discourses on municipal finance and all that. But those are the realities. And what happens is that if you have an engineer who holds office at the will of the corporator and who can be transferred, then what he does is he'll do exactly as the corporator tells him. Now, by the way, it's not all corporators. And that's a stereotype that I'd like to very strongly break. There are many corporators who have been good, capable people, men and women, hardworking, understood the law well, worked for their people. And I would like to tell you some of their names, and maybe if they are here, I'd like to bring them and make them talk to you. They may or may not be still in office, but they are very outstanding people. Maybe that their English skills are not good and their communication skills are bad, but so what? But otherwise, the reason why the competence levels were low was because of lack of tenure, among other things. So I put an end to it. I said, I will not transfer anybody only because he or she has not got the approval of the corporator. I will determine the transfer as the commissioner, not the corporator. And that took a very big leap of faith because it meant confronting the corporator. And that's a challenge that I'll come to later as to the tension between the elected and the administration. But I was able to succeed because I had the support of the mayor and the chief minister, Mr. Krishna. When I went and told them that, you cannot have a system of functioning when the officer does not know how long he is going to remain, so long as the officer is performing properly. So this instability was one of the reasons why we did not have the competence levels in the corporation. The other is this execution ability. And I want to dwell on it a little bit and then stop, which is every work must have a specification. Every work must have a schedule of rates and be properly estimated. Every work must be legitimately tendered. Every work must have an opening date and a closing date. Every work must be properly funded. It must be part of a budget. It cannot just be brought out and said, Madbidi, and somebody does it. And finally, every work must meet whatever the specifications and the expectations it has to start with. These are the meaning of what I call execution ability. And generally in the corporation, this execution ability is wanting because either there are no specifications, or there is no proper costing, or there is some of the other problems that I have just mentioned. So you look around you and you see works are started and they are incomplete because of a funds crunch, because of the incapacity of the contractor to perform. So this whole thing involves poor management. It's not rocket science. It's not that only in Singapore they can do it and we can't do it. Nothing of that kind. We can do it well, we can do it better. Our issue is, at the end of the day, lack of discipline. And for that, I think the administration is equally to blame, maybe more to blame. And I'll have some things to say as we go along. I've already spoken about resource constraints. Next. So, this is very important. This is in fact the heart of what I wanted to say, but because now of paucity of time, what is the role of the mayor? What is the commissioner's role? What is the tension between the mayor and the commissioner usually? You might have read about all that every day in the paper, something will be coming. Where does the council stand? Tav nale corporator adre, what work are you supposed to do? How are you supposed to relate to the mayor and the commissioner? Standing committees. What is the role of the standing committee? Ward works. Some mention was made about ward works because this is basic to your efficiency and effectiveness as a corporator. Relationship between BBMP and the state, I've already talked. Some more in the context of governance. And Vidhan Saudha and Bangalore, that is, should we work for Bangalore or should we work for Karnataka? It should be Karnataka and Bangalore, not Vidhan Saudha and Bangalore. So that is something I'll talk on the next occasion. Okay, so I'll conclude. Any comments from your side on why things don't work in BBMP?
Regarding the governance, is not just, then why the BBMP audit from the government said they have not taken enough implementation of skill development and the training programs on implementation?
We'll talk about it next time.
Even we have done some of the revenue sites and we've had nice amenities, road structures and everything just compared to before BMRDA. But the difference is people who want to buy would be different. People who can just give us little money and get a...
In fact, if the resources are properly augmented, even now with the property taxes, we can collect far more. In 99-2000, the extent of property tax collection in BBMP was 90 crores. 90. 90 koti. The next year I made it 120 crores in the same system. Once we introduced self-assessment, it doubled to 275 crores. Today it is more than 2,000 crores. Ivat yen heltare that if the entire property tax due were collected, it would be something like 5,000 crores. Yeah. So it all depends upon efficiency of collection. I'll just.
So on the bifurcation of developed wards, allocate budget to wards in the same way, other than bifurcation.
Is it politically feasible? You have to economics. So ನೀವೇ ಉತ್ತರ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು. Whether you will be re-elected with that kind of a slogan. ಕಷ್ಟ. You understand what I'm saying?
No, I did not.
I'll explain it to you later.
So like you explained, the revenue undergoing so many problems.
Yeah.
Are we going to, do something about that?
Yeah,
It's very difficult actually.
that is part of the concern of many of our councillors. How do you bring them into the mainstream?
Into the mainstream.
Yeah.
65% of the sales tax, Bangalore is.
Because ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಪ್ರೊಕ್ಯೂರ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅದ್ರ ಬೇಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ಬೇರೆ ನಾವು ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ. ಇದನ್ನ ಇನ್ನೂ ಬೆಟರ್ ಆಗಿ ನಾವು ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ವಿ ಮೇ ಗೆಟ್ ಮಚ್ ಮೋರ್. ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಗೆಟಿಂಗ್ 65% ವಿ ಮೇ ಗೆಟ್ ಅಟ್ 80%. ಆ ಒಂದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಸೊ ದಟ್ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಅ ರೆವೆನ್ಯೂ ಮೋರ್.
Come to that. Yeah.
Several pockets of revenue land weak are the property, weak are the property. Is it weak are the property or
ಪೀಪಲ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೇಷನ್ ರೂಲ್ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನರಮ್ ಫಂಡ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ
ದುಡ್ಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಇವಾಗ ನಾವು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಬಿಲ್ ಕಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಹೊರಟೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಷನ್ 2007 ಈ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನಿಕ್ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಶುರು ಆಯಿತು. ನೀವು ಯಾಕೆ ವೈಕಾಂಟ್ ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಷನ್ ದೆಮ್ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಪವರ್ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಸಿಟಿ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ನಾವು ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಕಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ದೇ ಶುಡ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಇನ್ ಇನಿಷಿಯೇಟಿವ್. ಇವತ್ತು ಕೂಡ ನಾವು 10 years ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಕಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ, ಸೇಮ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂಸ್ ಬೇರೆ.
ಸೊ ನೀವು ಎಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ನಿಂತ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಆ ತರ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ಗೆ? ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ? ನೀವು ತೆರಿಗೆ ಕಟ್ಟಂಗಿದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ.
Can we coordinate the multiple agencies?
You have to answer that question yourself.
No, I said electricity, if you don't pay,
No, but you are right. You are right. If you have defaulted on your payment, there has to be a certain cutoff. But there are many issues. Now, there's paucity of time. I can talk to you about this public fountain issue. ಕುಡಿಯೋ ನೀರಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ಲಮ್ಗಳಿಗೆ ನೀವು ಕುಡಿಯೋ ನೀರು ಕೊಡಬೇಕಲ್ಲ. Do you know who's paying for that water that goes to slums? It's BBMP. It is called public fountain anta. Now the point is, if you are a corporator tomorrow and the commissioner comes and tells you, ನೋಡಿ ಅವ್ರುಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ದುಡ್ಡು ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ನಾವು ಫೌಂಟನ್ಗೆ ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸ್ಬಿಡೋಣ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸ್ತೀರಾ? ಅಲ್ಲ. These are all the issues, yeah. So my dear friends, I think there are lots and lots of issues, and I'm glad that all of you are awake, because after listening to public finance and now, but I'll tell you one thing, what is very heartening, ನನಗೇನು ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಸಂತೋಷ ಅಂದರೆ, all of you are so excited and you are so enthused, which is really the purpose behind B-Clip and B-Pack. Because tomorrow, if all of you get into that kind of civic life with these motivations, with these interests, certainly you will make a difference. Because at the end of the day, again I'll repeat, we have very good people in the system. Don't get mistaken and misled saying ellaru vanchakaro, yaru kelsa ಮಾಡ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. It's not so. Some of these issues require hard decisions. And if you can really look at what decisions have to be taken when, keeping the public interest in mind, we can bring about a major difference in the way Bangalore works. Okay, thank you.
Two housekeeping announcements. For the first 3 weeks, we have been quite relaxed in terms of our attendance. So we didn't start our attendance on time in the morning purposely. So you are requested to go on your way out. Please sign your attendance. But from the next week, next Friday onwards, when you come, we have a different attendance system. It will be far more rigorous, and there will be a cutoff point when attendance will not be given. So we just wanted to get you up to the mood and get you enthused. From next Friday onwards is a new system. So today you can just sign up here and go on your way out. Next Friday onwards is different.
So Nitin, sorry.
We have
Same thing. Interview. Be back. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಗಂಟಲು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ